Hello, everyone. Welcome to Jacob's Pillow on this beautiful, warm, and sunny afternoon. My name is Melanie George. I am an associate curator here at the festival, and for this week of Social Tango Project, I'm also the scholar in residence. The origins of the tango come from West Africa. Argentines of African origin or lineage increased dramatically during the 18th and 19th centuries as a result of the transatlantic slave trade. The slave trade flourished in Buenos Aires with enslaved people from what we now know as Angola, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and the Republic of Congo. In his book Tango, The Art History of Love, noted dance historian Robert Ferris Thompson writes, quote, "Tango started black, and milonga, the dance that preceded it, even more so," end quote. Milonga is an African term which translates to issue or argument in Kumbundu and lines of dancers in Kikongo. Both of these are Bantu languages spoken by the people from those aforementioned African countries. Milonga and tango share an emphasis on footwork. However, the milonga, like many West African dances, has a greater emphasis on vertical throughness and the movement's relationship to the earth. In describing the crossing footwork, Ferris Thompson notes, quote, "It's crossing, but it's not just crossing. It's going up and down, then across, then down, then cross and down. When you're going down, you're honoring the ancestors, and when you cross, you are defending yourself. There is no waist motion in Congo dancing," end quote. As it was a dance that came from enslaved people, there is a class divide built into the dance and for those who performed it. Milonga was a dance of the working classes and was sometimes considered synonymous with sex work. The influx of immigrants from Spain and Italy and later Germany created an inevitable confluence of cultures, blending milonga with elements of European dances such as the waltz and polka, which begat the resultant adaptation and rebrand of the tango as a dance of Ural Argentine origin. Again, Ferris Thompson elucidates this, writing, quote, "During the early years of tango in the late 19th century and early 20th centuries, young workers from Italy and Spain and elsewhere in Europe flooded the streets of Buenos Aires. But just as the Manchu invaders of the 17th century were transformed into avatars of Chinese culture, so the newcomers found their Argentinidad in tango. Hence that immortal immigrant turned icon of Argentino, Carlos Gardel. Hence the descendants of Italian immigrants, the great composers Pugliese and Piazzolla, and the virtuoso player of the bandoneon, Nestor Marconi," end quote. Contemporary tango masters are known to quote from the milonga in performance of the music and the dance because Ferris Thompson says, quote, "Milonga, in short, is the conscience of tango. Like the blues next to jazz, it keeps tango honest, being close to its roots," end quote. It's through the tango as a European export that America comes to know the dance. American media and popular culture have a curious relationship with tango. When portrayed in television and film, rarely is it shown for its intricate footwork, perhaps because that footwork is in fact difficult to master. Often you see a rose-in-mouth adversary in physical metaphor for battle or subterfuge or espionage. See Some Like It Hot, or I Love Lucy, or True Lies, or Tango Maureen from Rent. Often comedic, with one dancer sometimes dragging the other completely off their feet. Playful but never soft, intimate but rarely vulnerable. And of course, there is the international competition ballroom version, which emphasizes precision, fixed posture, competition, and the performance of a relationship. As a social dance, none of what I've just described reflects the world in which tango exists. Social tango has a lightness to it, both circular and linear. It glides and swirls with gestural flourishes of the leg, sustained intensity but never hurried, intentional with plenty of room for experimentation, flirtation, and play. The music lilts, romantic and intriguing, sometimes poignant and yearning. The dance and the music, while full, are also quite spacious, like the expansiveness of a balloon, and also like the surprise when it pops. This is what social dances do. For brief moments in time, they create addicting opportunities for magnification, intimacy, and vulnerability. Connections for one to the many, and connections for one to one. This is the landscape of Social Tango Project, founded 10 years ago with the express purpose of presenting the ways tango is danced socially rather than competitively. a dance available to all. The creative team is composed of Argentine-born artistic director Agustina Videla, with staging by Pablo Destito, featuring live music directed by Fulvio Gerardo, and video and photography by Nora Lozano. Social Tango Project endeavors to transport tango from the rarefied air of the ballroom into real-life situations. The work is meant to celebrate the collective experience of the milonga, which in current parlance has come to mean the social gathering where the dancing occurs. As a dance scholar, I often write and talk about social dance forms and the ways in which they reflect and lead society. Like many dance scholars, I come to this knowledge not only through academic research, but also through physical practice. However, today I come to you as this week's scholar in residence with a confession. In my many decades as a dancer studying social dance, I have never once danced the tango. Not for lack of interest. On the contrary, like many of us here today, I suspect, I find the tango enticing, intriguing, and for me, alas, intimidating. The hallmarks of its makeup, intimacy, intricacy, interdependence, intrepidness, so incredible, and for me, so incredibly challenging. There's a character in the performance that embodies this exact journey, desire walking right up to the daring to take on the dance. You'll have to watch the full performance to see the outcome of her journey, but on behalf of the creative team and Jacob's Pillow, we hope you will recognize the place where you also fit into this narrative and will be so moved to come back after tonight's performance and join us for a milonga in our Bacalar studio, right next door to the Tetshon Theater. Social dances on concert dance stages are often framed around the idea of resurgences, or that they are making a comeback, as if they were dormant, awaiting our discovery. However, if we apply a discerning and necessary anti-colonist lens, we must admit that cultures are not for outsiders to discover. We do not unearth an existing culture. They exist with us or without us, before us and after us. With social and folk dance, new to you is not, in fact, new. However, we can have an encounter so as not to other or appropriate. And it is through this lens that I invite you to engage with the history of the tango and a performance by Social Tango Project. Have an experience with the work and the play, but let's not patronize the form, as it has been here for literally hundreds of years. Thank you.